What's going on, everybody? So in this video we have a car in that we're going to be doing a rewrap on. It's a 2018 Mustang GT. I wrapped this car about 2 years ago. The vinyl actually didn't hold up too well to the Texas heat, and I've talked to some shops and they said they've had the same issues with the 3M matte military green just not holding up well over time. So we're going to go ahead and unwrap the car and then rewrap it in a new color. It's going to look much better than the car does, than the vinyl looks right now. I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around and show y'all what I'm talking about as far as the damage. So we'll start back here at the trunk. You can see where it looks like the vinyl has been burned. It's just from not being taken care of well and a mixture of the Texas heat. The car sat outside for a good bit, and that's whenever all of this started. Also got it right here on the quarter panels. So right here you can see where pretty much the horizontal surfaces, mainly of the green, are what has been severely affected by that have been having this issue. The matte black on top it's got some signs of just wear, but it's nothing like what's showing on the green. Now, one thing I also want to show is how well the corners I did hold up. Now, you may notice there's a slight shade difference between the hood and fender. We actually I rewrapped the hood for about 6 months ago, because the hood was what started showing all of the wear first, and so I told her I'd go ahead and get that redone. But then in the meantime, since then, the rear, the quarter panel of the trunk is what's gotten really bad. But here, you can see the corners. I don't use adhesion promoter. This is all just proper technique. The mirrors have held up very well. I did have to redo, I believe it was this passenger side, not too long after I did the wrap, because right in here it started fingering a little bit because I didn't post heat properly. So I rewrapped it. Obviously haven't had that issue, and it's been over a year and a half since that's been done. Door handles, no pulling back, no lifting. As far as the install quality goes, I'm very happy with how well the corners have held up. Considering this was my third ever full car wrap, it's held up very, very nicely. Again, I'm going to show corners over here. The corners are the most common thing to fail on a wrap, because most people just want to stretch around the corner, not post heat properly, not use a good technique, and that's what causes the failure. That, and then overstretching the vinyl into areas that you need an inlay, or they're just not using a good technique. Most vinyls, most of the common vinyls, you would use heat to remove the vinyl. Some brands like Vivid, from what I hear, and actually I've experienced it, where they remove better in a colder environment. So your vinyls that have a heat activated adhesive, you want to try to avoid using heat, is my understanding, because it's just going to make it a little more difficult. 3M, Avery, two most common brands of vinyl, use heat to remove them. So if you start picking at the vinyl and pulling it back, you're more likely to leave glue and residue behind. The vinyl just also starts to tear and snap. So you want to use heat, you want to get the vinyl nice and soft, and then start actually peeling the vinyl. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. you pretty much just pick an edge. So see right now, it's actually, I could stand to heat it up a little more just by the temperature of the vinyl. So yeah, like right here, it left a ton of adhesive. There are products that you can use to remove the adhesive. What I use is called Rapid Remover, and you spray it on, let it soak on the vinyl, and then come back. If the adhesive is really caked on there, you actually may end up having to use a plastic razor blade. I've had to do that before. Most of the time, stuff like this, if you can wipe it off fairly easily with your finger, rubbing alcohol or especially that rapid remover will help to remove that. So when you do this, you actually want to work in sections, because if you try to heat a large panel, the panel is actually going to cool by the time you get back to peeling it. So I'll work in usually roughly a 6x6, somewhere in there area, and then I try to work my way to the edges once I can, because when you start peeling down, you can start leaving a ton of glue along the edges depending on how you peel it. So I try to peel out towards the edge. keep in mind, you are probably going to have to do some disassembly to completely remove all the wrap. So, for example, I wrapped this car, and I remember wrapping this car, I over wrapped. So when I did this car, I actually removed these side skirts and wrapped further in. So what that means is, at a minimum, I'm gonna have to loosen up here and right at the back where it meets the quarter panel to be able to get the vinyl from underneath there. Other areas are gonna be your bumpers around the mirror. You're gonna have to remove the mirror to fully remove the vinyl. At a minimum, loosen it. So you may have to do some disassembly. Like, I'm gonna have to remove the trim, pretty much disassemble this car to completely remove all the vinyl. The good thing is I am re-wrapping it, so it's gonna have to get disassembled anyway. So I'm gonna remove as much as I can without disassembling. Get it outside, get it washed, work on prepping the paint. The prep's gonna take a while on this car. So, but just one thing I wanted to mention. so took me roughly 15 minutes to remove all the vinyl off the fender. What I find is if you pull, say you're pulling this vinyl up, if you pull parallel to the vinyl that's on the car versus what you're removing, so say you're pulling this way, I find that actually tends to leave a lot more adhesive behind versus pulling perpendicular to the vinyl or even getting your hand under there and pulling it. It's one of those things that's not concrete, that's not every time it's going to work out this way. That's just the way that I've seen the most that leaves the least adhesive behind. So I try to read what the vinyl's doing. I try to see what the adhesive is doing. Is it leaving behind on the car? Is it going with the vinyl? And I try to do that. I try to mimic it. I mean, I'm not really going to film more of the car because that's not the most exciting thing. I just wanted to show y'all how you would remove vinyl. It's not difficult, it's just more so time consuming. You need a heat gun and time, and be prepared for your fingers to be really sore if you're unwrapping a full car, even just a panel. It's very hard on your skin, and it's very, very just, that's not anything fun. So there are going to be more videos to follow on this car. I've got some disassembly videos I'm gonna make, as well as some wrapping some panels, showing you how some of the techniques that I use when I wrap a car. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And comment down below, tell me what you think. If you're someone who works with vinyl and you have maybe some insight or some recommendations as far as removing vinyl to make it a little bit easier, shoot them in the comments down below. Y'all take care. Have a great day.